You're watching NBC3 News at 5.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our special live broadcast, Your Town, Thousand Islands. We have taken the trek to the north of Syracuse tonight for a wonderful adventure here.
We have picked the perfect evening. I'm Matt Mulcahy along with Megan Colbin. We're right on the shoreline of the river here in Clayton, right next to the Harbor Hotel here. And what a night we have. We got the charity poker run. We got all these beautiful boats, great people walking around. It's going to be a fun time.
It's going to be a great night here tonight. You know, we've been traveling to communities throughout the summer, profiling what makes them unique. And this week, we've been focusing on the Thousand Islands and what makes this community so special. As Matt mentioned, a busy event going on here this weekend. A lot of people already gathering with these beautiful boats behind us. And we have a lot to explore with this community. In fact, the Thousand Islands is not too far from Syracuse. Take a look at where we're located. Thousand Islands, just a short drive from central New York. It's located along the border between northern New York State and southeastern Ontario, Canada. It's about an hour-and-a-half drive for us. An area filled with rich history. It's a sightseer's paradise and a popular tourist destination. There's so much to do here, including historic castles, lighthouses, fishing, diving, and boating.
Yeah, and it is just packed with people looking to enjoy the water tonight and all weekend long here. You know, just a short boat ride up that direction, up the river, past the Thousand Islands Bridge, you get to Alexandria Bay, and that's where you find Boldt Castle, which is really one of those iconic markers here in the Thousand Island region, a place that people come to visit, a must-stop for any visitor. Boldt Castle on Hart Island is a landmark, really, on the St. Lawrence, a place with some history behind it. Remember, 1904 was close to completion when George Boldt said, call it quits. His wife, the hotel tycoon's wife, had passed away. He stopped production of the castle. He never stepped foot on that island again. Then in 1922, it was open to visitors, but it wasn't complete and it fell into disrepair. In 1977, the owners gifted that castle to the Thousand Islands Bridge Authority.
It was a very important operation in the Thousand Islands, and the continued improvements are very significant to a healthy tourism industry.
Oh, it looks great these days. The six-story castle features 120 rooms, draws nearly 200,000 visitors each year, bringing an estimated $45 million spin-off to the entire region. This local economy really is a centerpiece of the Thousand Islands.
There is still so much to come from our live broadcast in the Thousand Islands tonight. Our Stephanie Stanovich is on the Alex Bay side of things. She's going to take us to Singer Castle, and we'll go out on the water with her. We're also going to talk about Uncle Sam's boat tours and all kinds of things that you can do with your family here this summer.
And we can't be here in Clayton tonight with the sunshine out here, people out on the water in their swimsuits and their light clothing without checking in with Chief Meteorologist Wayne Mahar, who has really set us up nicely again. It seems like every Friday in the summer, Wayne, has been nice, and it sure is tonight.
How about that? Yeah, great weather last week in Geneva. Look at the great weather up there in the Thousand Islands right now.
Oh, Wayne, picture perfect weather. We thank you again.
And you really can't appreciate the Thousand Islands from the shoreline. You have to get out on a boat, whether it's an antique boat or the power boats that are here this weekend, or the traditional Uncle Sam's boat tour that takes you throughout the tour of the Thousand Islands. You know, those tours started back in the 1920s. Nearly 100 years later, they're still going strong. This family-owned business operates 7 boats, carrying anywhere from 85 to 400 passengers. They drew thousands of visitors each year to check out the sights and sounds of the Thousand Islands.
It's a lot of fun. It's just a gorgeous area. We try to transport you back in time to 1900 when the rich and famous of New York City, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, that was before jets, and this was their playground up here.
And what a playground it is. You know, these are the busiest months of the year, as you might imagine, for the Uncle Sam boat tours, July and August. But they keep the tours going into those transitional seasons, particularly in the fall. September, early October is just beautiful here when all the foliage starts to turn.
Yeah, there is so much to explore here in the Thousand Islands. People are having a great time here tonight. Again, you see all the boats behind us. A lot of people coming in for the big charity poker run here this weekend. We're going to have much more coverage live from the Thousand Islands coming up over the next 90 minutes. First, let's head back to the studio. Jeremy Miller is bedding down the fort for us there tonight. We know, Jeremy, it's been a busy news day.
It sure has. And speaking of boat tours, we do have new information. Also a great night to be near the water. And of course, that's where we find our Matt and Megan. They're up in the Thousand Islands in Clayton for their special Your Town series. Hey, guys.
Oh, what a great night out here.
Yeah, it is beautiful outside tonight. And, you know, you really got to spend some time around the Thousand Islands, Clayton specifically, to get to know the area. And out of Clayton, there are a lot of fishing guides that take people out on the water here and catch all kinds of things. I've had the good fortune of being out on that fishing guide experience from time to time over the years. The great group of friends and a fishing guide named Clay Ferguson. Yes, he's Clay from Clayton. Now, over the course of the morning, we catch smallmouth bass, we catch some perch, maybe an occasional northern pike. Then, of course, there are the great fish stories that get told, that get better each year. The day culminates with a short dinner, the fresh fish cooked in fatback.
Ooh, that sounds healthy.
It is not healthy at all, but it's delicious. Also throw in a few salt potatoes, salad with, of course, Thousand Island dressing.
Yes.
French toast is the dessert with real maple syrup and a shot of whiskey. That's a traditional Thousand Island shore dinner.
Is it really?
Yeah,
I love that.
And fatback is like bacon without any meat.
So your heart is feeling real good after this trip.
By the end of that trip, you definitely need to detox, but it's a great time, and what a beautiful place to experience that kind of time.
Yeah, great time. And there is still so much to come live from our Yorktown broadcast here tonight. Our Stephanie Stanovich is out on the water just a short distance from us. She's near Alexandria Bay. She's going to explore Singer Castle. We'll check in with her live on the boat when we come back live from the Thousand Islands.
Well, welcome back to our live coverage here from Clayton, Yorktown, Thousand Islands. We have picked again a perfect evening to be out here on the St. Lawrence River. So much activity here tonight.
Yeah, we're right outside the Harbor Hotel, a beautiful spot here, right on the water. You can see a ton of people are behind us. They've got the big charity poker run going on here this weekend, so a lot of boats, a lot of people, a lot of activity, and tourists coming into the area. And you know what brings a lot of tourists here each and every summer? Well, they love to get out on the water and visit places like Singer Castle. And if you haven't had a chance to visit it, it is a gem in this community. It was built on Dark Island back in 1905. The castle can be seen from miles away on the water. Tourists are there. They're only able to get there, in fact, by boat. Tonight, our Stephanie Stanovich is headed to this impressive castle. She spoke with tourists as they enjoy this wonderful attraction here in the Finger Lakes.
And Stephanie joins us live now in Alexandria Bay area with more on this story. Stephanie.
Matt and Megan, it is absolutely perfect out here. We're on the St. Lawrence River, and if you look right beside me, you could see Singer Castle. It is impossible to miss. Just look how massive it is. Now, I had a chance to tour the castle, and I can tell you it is a fairy tale, which is exactly how people I spoke with described it. A trip to Singer Castle on Dark Island starts with a boat ride across the St. Lawrence River. It isn't long before the giant castle comes into view from miles away. Singer Castle, originally called the Towers, was built in 1905 by the president of Singer Sewing Machine Company. It was later bought by a reverend in the 60s, who turned it into a religious retreat, then sold the impressive castle to German investors in 2005, who opened it to the public.
I live here. I have lived here for the last 15 years.
Scott Garris is Singer Castle's caretaker, and this is his home.
Welcome to Singer Castle.
When tourists arrive by boat, they're given a tour of the castle. There's so much to take in here, it can take hours. The best part, you can actually stay here.
People actually do come from Germany, Europe, Australia, and stay here for one night or several days at a time.
I had a chance to take the tour, going through several secret passageways in the walls, the very same ones servants used to take.
There we go. Get the little spark to open.
We are graduates 1981 from the University of Ottawa and decided to have a girls' weekend, which we have had for many years.
We caught up with these ladies on their vacation, celebrating their retirement together.
We have a lovely, intimate royal suite where we are staying, and it's just a beautiful, silent escape. It was just something out of a fairy tale.
They're spending the weekend in the castle reading books, drinking wine, and cherishing their long friendship, enjoying this once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Although there's Wi-Fi here, so we are not lost. We can be rescued. But who would want to be rescued? No need.
Those ladies are awesome. And now Singer Castle may be on what's called Dark Island, but there is nothing dark about it. And fun fact, you can also get married in that castle, which I 100% would do. It is truly an incredible experience. Reporting live on the St. Lawrence River, I'm Stephanie Stanovich.
Well, it really is a treat to visit any of these historic islands. And you mentioned, of course, you got to get there by boat. Well, that's the nature of an island, right?
That's right.
You can't just drive your car. If you got a house out there, you got to have a way to get there.
And remember, it is the Thousand Islands, so there's a lot to explore up here. We're going to continue doing that over the next hour for you. Our live coverage, Your Town, the Thousand Islands, continues right after this.
Well, welcome back to Clayton, right here on the shore of the St. Lawrence River, near in the Thousand Islands region. So much activity, a lot of families here tonight, too.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of kids, a lot of families. We're even seeing some dogs out here tonight. A beautiful evening. And Wayne, all the credit again goes to you for this fabulous forecast for our broadcast here tonight.
Oh boy, what great weather last Friday for your town in Geneva. Great weather there right now in the Thousand Islands here in Clayton. And you know, we're going to stretch this great weather at least on into the start of the weekend. That's the latest from the weather outside. Back up north, the Thousand Islands with Matt and Megan.
Well, thank you, Wayne. We appreciate that. You know, there's a helicopter just landing right here, a photographer hanging out the window to capture all this beauty that we're seeing here tonight.
Yeah, that's right, because of course we've got this big event here going on this weekend with the charity poker run. So a lot of people are here, beautiful boats out in the water. And if you've ever wondered if there's anything kind of spooky about the Thousand Islands, well, guess what? There is.
Yeah, I think so.
So all you have to do if you're looking to uncover some of those spooky secrets here, those stories, look no further than the Thousand Islands Ghost Tours. You can take a guided walking tour of the haunted businesses and hotels in Alexandria Bay, just a short way from here. It's part of the Haunted History Trail of New York State. It gives the paranormal curious a chance to get up close and personal with the spooky sights here, including one ghost, a woman who apparently dresses in white.
She does look like you and me, like everyday people. But her attire is old style, very early to 1800s. And in the front window of the museum, they have their own rendition of the Lady in White, and her name is Madeline.
Well, the ghost tours are open 6 days a week. The tours take you around downtown through the haunted row, ending right at the cemetery, just to give you a little spooky finish.
The last thing I needed. You know, if you think about it, you're out on an island. The only way to get back to land is on a boat.
And then you see the lady in white.
And then you see the lady in white, the ghost. Scary stuff for sure. Our broadcast is going to continue here live, Thousand Islands, Your Town broadcast, as we continue on this gorgeous Friday evening when we come back. Right.
You're watching NBC3 News at 5:30.
Your Town, Thousand Islands continues live from Clayton on the shoreline of the St. Lawrence River tonight. What a beautiful evening to be out here. I'm Matt Mulcahy.
Hi, everybody. I'm Megan Coleman. Thanks so much for spending part of your Friday evening with us. We really got spoiled today because we have beautiful weather here in the Thousand Islands. There is so much history in this community, and we're going to continue exploring that tonight. You know, it's just a short drive away, so if you're looking for a quick little weekend vacation for you and your family this summer, it's the perfect place to be. The Thousand Islands is located along the border between northern New York State and southeastern Ontario, Canada. It's really just a short drive, maybe about a half hour or so. An area filled, as I mentioned, with rich history, a sightseer's paradise. A lot of tourists come here, and there's so much to do. We talked a little bit about those historic castles. We're going to explore some of the lighthouses coming up. Matt told you about his fishing trips. That can be a whole lot of fun. There's also diving and boating. Just behind us, we've got this great charity run, this poker run that's going to be going on this weekend. So a lot of boaters here this weekend.
And did you know some of these boats are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, approaching $1 million? I mean, they're beautiful, and there's a lot of investment. These people are really serious about their boating on the St. Lawrence Seaway. Now, the Thousand Islands straddle the U.S.-Canadian border, somewhere in the middle. Half the islands in Canada, the other half are in New York. It's a popular tourist destination, drawing people from central New York, Rochester, Ottawa, and all over the world.
A lot of people have this on their bucket list. They want to see the castle, they want to take the tour through the islands. But a lot of people also have it on their every year list. It's a place that you come to relax.
Thousand Islands see more than 1 million visitors to the regional state parks each year, drawing more than 200,000 guests to Boldt Castle alone.
It's filled with all kinds of islands, this area, small and large, and those islands are really filled with so much history.
Yeah, that's the story our Victoria Carmen has for us tonight.
Step on board Muskie.
one of Guernsey's classic island cruises tour boats. And it's not just any boat. It's a Chris Craft, restored with mahogany planks, a teak deck, and oak keel. It's the boat to take through the islands. Our guide for the afternoon, Jeff Guernsey, a third-generation fishing guide from a family that spans decades in the Thousand Islands.
I was 10 years old. The duplicate boat to this named Muskie that was my grandfather's, I was the deckhand, so I learned to drive this boat.
Our first stop of the day on the Muskie, Hiawatha Lodge.
It has been in the family since the Frontenac Hotel stood, which was over a 300-room hotel that was the #1 hotel east of the Mississippi River until 1913 when it burned down.
The lodge is named after Chief Hiawatha from the Onondaga and Mohawk tribes. The chief is best known for bringing together 5 tribes to form the Iroquois Confederacy, which was prevalent in this area. Hiawatha Lodge is on its 6th generation in the family.
Very, very seldom does a house on the channel side come up for sale. They pass from generation to generation, and you can see, just like this one, that it's a constant building and rebuilding and maintaining.
Just down the shore from the lodge, a unique post office that's still delivering mail today.
So this is the little post office.
This is the post office. You can pull up and check your mail either by walking on the footpath, or you can just pull in with your boat.
It's open from Memorial Day to Labor Day weekend. Next, we head to Rock Island Lighthouse. But the story today isn't the iconic tower, it's what lies underneath the water, thanks to river pirate Bill Johnston. Guernsey says it was the mid-1800s when goods were taxed between the U.S. and Canada. A group of Canadians boarded an American trade ship and pushed cargo overboard because the tax wasn't paid. So that's when Bill Johnston and his buddies stepped onto a Canadian trade ship.
The plan was they were going to get on that ship, discharge the cargo into the river, and we would be even. Well, it didn't work out really well because Bill was a little bit of a steamer, and he and his friends consumed a little bit more rum than they thought that they would.
That did not end well. Guernsey says Johnston and his crew threw the Canadians overboard and decided to burn the ship. And where that buoy floats is where the ship rests, right in front of the Rock Island Lighthouse. Another quick cruise down the St. Lawrence brings us to a spot known for its tricky terrain and smuggling.
Between Murray Island and Wellesley Island was one of the small notches that contraband alcohol would travel between Canada and the United States.
It's also where the term river rat comes from, the difference between someone who knows the ins and outs of the river or not.
This little cut, if you're coming up at a distance, you can't even tell that you're going to be able to penetrate between the two. Absolutely. So on the other side of this opens up into Eel Bay, and beyond that is the Canadian border.
What a day on the river. Breathtaking views, rich history, and good company. Unfortunately, we have to head back to French Bay Marina with the crew. Until next time, reporting from the Muskie, I'm Victoria Carmen.
Oh, what a great vantage point there, getting out on the water. And you know what? Tori is not done with her reporting from the boat tonight. Coming up, we are going to head back out on the boat. She's going to look a little bit more about downtown Clayton. Plus, she's going to explore some celebrities that come to this area.
And we want to show you another shot we got right now on the St. Lawrence Seaway. Remember, this is not just about pleasure up here. It's about commerce. And look at this giant cargo ship that's making its way through right now, the Tecumseh. Keep in mind, they keep the Seaway dredged for the business to get through here. It's an international opportunity to get into the Great Lakes and the rest of America.
And in fact, coming up new at 6 tonight, we're going to explore shipping, which really is a huge industry in the Thousand Islands. So we'll have more on that still to come. But first, a beautiful evening here in the Thousand Islands.
Yeah, Wayne Mahar's back at the station, keeping an eye on a beautiful forecast for Friday night and the weekend too, Wayne.
Oh, you're right. You know, it's a great looking day today, great looking evening at Thousand Islands or anywhere around central New York.
Including the Thousand Islands, and that is where Matt and Megan are right now for their special Your Town series. Guys.
Hey, Jeremy, good evening, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Thousand Islands, a really fantastic community. We've been exploring what this area has to offer, and gosh, we picked a perfect night.
We did. I'm pretty sure it's happy hour, by the way.
I can hear the music.
At the hotel, more people hanging out, some people boating in, others just getting a good look at the boats ready for tomorrow's charity poker run. You know, one of the highlights here is a former nunnery, which was recently converted to a boutique hotel. St. Lawrence Spirits Chateau opened just this year. The 80-year-old waterfront property featured 6 second-floor suites and a high-end restaurant focusing on farm-to-table cuisine. Also houses a distillery that uses purified water from the St. Lawrence River to proof its spirits. So it is really a nice little treat of a place to visit.
Yeah, and just a great night out here tonight. In fact, if you peek down here, you can see we've got a guy fishing down there. So people are boating and they are fishing. They're getting out on the water.
Right off the dock, too. and also we've seen a few cocktails walking by. So as we said, I think it's happy hour here in Clayton, New York.
As when we continue here tonight.
Welcome back to your town, Thousand Islands, here in Clayton. What a gorgeous evening we're enjoying right here on the shoreline of the St. Lawrence Seaway. We got people here watching, enjoying this evening, getting ready for the charity poker run tomorrow. Beautiful boats, really a nice night out.
Yeah, and you know, as you mentioned earlier, it is happy hour, so a lot of people starting to enjoy some of the great food up here. And what is a Reuben sandwich really? What makes it famous? Of course, it's Thousand Islands dressing. And so there are 2 different stories, in fact. Did you know? At least. And they're sort of competing against each other. Where did the Thousand Islands dressing come from?
Well, there's 2 stories that they tell up here in the Thousand Islands, and our Victoria Carmen went exploring to find out which one is true.
They say there are 2 sides to every story. Turns out it's even true for salad dressing.
It is a friendly feud.
It all originated here with Mr. Boldt in the Thousand Islands dressing.
Shane Sanford believes it's the Boldt family who originated the infamous Thousand Island dressing.
Mr. Boldt and his family were aboard his steam yacht Louise, cruising the Thousand Islands, and lunches to be served aboard the vessel. And his chef of that day was putting together a salad dressing.
Legend has it, the chef didn't have his usual ingredients for the dressing, so he used what was available on the boat.
Relish and tomatoes and mayonnaise, and served this, called it Thousand Islands dressing.
George Boldt liked the new dressing so much, he decided to serve it in his hotels in New York City and Philadelphia, which made that dressing an instant hit.
Never knew the story, now I do.
Yeah.
Now for story number 2, this is where Jeff Garnsey steps in, but does give some credit to the Boldt family.
What you heard up at Boldt Castle is absolutely the truth. There's just a chronological difference.
Jeff believes a woman named Sophia Lalone first put this together for Captain Shore dinners. One of Clayton, New York's beloved patrons, actress and singer May Irwin, got a taste from Sophia, and she loved it just as much as George Boldt did.
May Irwin publicized it, and she was a dear friend of George Boldt, and she offered up his chef the recipe to the Thousand Islands dressing, and that's when it became a worldwide dressing.
Whichever way you look at it, whichever story you tend to side with, one thing's for sure, the Thousand Islands have made their mark in households and restaurants around the globe. In the Thousand Islands, I'm Victoria Carmen.
It's a lot of fun.
A fun little debate to have over dinner tonight.
Yeah, and Shane and Jeff are cool with it all. You know, that they figure, you know, one way or another, whichever story you believe, whichever one came first, it all put the Thousand Islands on the map by enjoying a salad dressing.
I think I'm going to go with the Clayton one since we're in Clayton.
That's not a bad bet.
You can take Boldt Castle.
Okay, I got it. I'll take this one.
Well, in addition to Boldt Castle, as we just mentioned, there's a really unique lighthouse in the area for you to explore. So if you come up here with your family, this is definitely a must on your list. It sits on the St. Lawrence River on Fisher's Island and dates all the way back to the mid-1800s. It's the Rock Island Lighthouse. It was rebuilt in 1903, then closed in 1855 before being restored and eventually opened to tourists. And there's only one way to get there, by boat. Clayton Island Tours takes tours to Boldt Castle, Grindstone Island, and Rock Island Lighthouse.
I think the trip is wonderful. I think the water, the air is refreshing. I think the historic things that you learn is always something that you can cherish and remember.
Well, did you know that you can also get married at the lighthouse?
Oh, I didn't know.
It's a place that you can rent out. You can even go all the way to the top to take some of your beautiful pictures. So that's a really unique way to enjoy the Thousand Islands and get married.
It really is. Another great way to do it, I think, would be either, you're on an island or on a boat. You know, captain can always marry somebody, right?
There you go.
Don't they have that?
Idea.
Yeah. So that's another option. Certainly, that's a way of life here in the Thousand Islands, particularly in the summertime. Our live broadcast continues Your Town, Thousand Islands. In just a few minutes, we'll have more sights and sounds when we continue. Thousand Islands here in Clayton. We're enjoying this perfect Friday evening. We're enjoying a perfect evening as our live broadcast continues Your Town, Thousand Islands, right here in Clayton. We're right along the water here. We're enjoying meeting people, the sunshine, and we also have brought some local beverages along.
That's right.
Tonight.
As you mentioned, it is time for some cocktails because it's happy hour. So, Matt, I will pass one down to you. This is Mike. He's with the Clayton Chamber of Commerce. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for being here.
Let's go through. Let's do some samples. Tell us about what the Thousand Islands has to offer in terms of drinks.
So the Thousand Islands really has grown like everywhere in New York State with the craft beverage market. Here we have some of the best. We have St. Lawrence Spirits, Coyote Moon Vineyards, and Clayton Distillery. And there's more than that right here in the Clayton area. There's 6 craft beverage businesses, and then throughout Thousand Islands, probably double or triple that. And right now we are sampling the first drink from St. Lawrence Spirits, which is their New York Dry Gin. So,
Woo!
Yeah, got a little bit of kick to it. So,
woo! Yeah, that does have a
What
good
is this
kick.
doing for the area in terms of an attraction and not only bringing people here, but also getting the Thousand Islands brand out from here?
So it just goes hand in hand. I mean, if you look at the marking on all these bottles, most of them are really branded nautically. You know, St. Lawrence, excuse me, a little bit stiff.
It took a full
St.
swallow
Lawrence
on that
Distillery,
stuff. Yeah.
Coyote Moon, and Clayton Distillery. They're all modeled after the river, and it's just they add on something to do.
Okay.
So you come here, there's food, there's drinks, and there's a beautiful river.
All right.
Well, it's fair to say, though, too, that I know the winters are long, but people also eat food here, too.
Yes.
They do. And
They don't just rely on what we see on the table.
Right, and as I just experienced, these drinks will certainly warm you right up. So the winters are getting a little warmer around here today.
All right,
Yeah,
so what's next? So let's wash that down with something.
Okay.
So what's next up here?
So let's try, let's try Coyote Moon.
And this is a
their-
local vineyard?
It's a local vineyard, highly decorated. I believe they've won New York State Winery of the Year the last
Yep,
2
definitely
years,
heard
I
of Coyote
believe.
Moon, yeah.
And they're
I'll
very
take a
popular,
little bit
very
of
well
that one.
decorated. There you are.
Oh, I'll pour yours,
Yeah.
Meg. Now I'll be the pourer.
You can be the pourer.
Let me try to clear my
There you go.
throat here.
Yeah, I'm trying to give Mike a break from talking while he recovers from the kick.
A little better, a little smoother.
Ooh, yeah, that goes down really nice. This is beautiful.
Yup.
And there are lots of vineyards across central New York and northern New York. It's really kind of become a hub for the central New York region.
It has, and even right here you have Coyote Moon Vineyards, you have TI Winery and Northern Flow Vineyards. And it's just right here in the Clayton area. There's more just in the Thousand Islands region. There's multiple more wineries. So if you're a fruit person, a wine person, we have everything for you here.
Well, Mike,
All right,
thank you
last
so
up
much.
before we go. No, we have to do our last one, of course. So we're going to do a cheers to Wayne.
Okay.
So what's our last up here, Mike?
Well, let's give
what should we give to
props
Wayne?
Clayton Distillery. So we have their Lemon Shine 101. So let's try this, see if it's a little smoother here.
We're ready to go. Wayne, we're pouring this one to you, I think, really because of the great forecast.
This is the one
that
left.
he
No,
has
we're done.
provided.
Oh, let's get a new
Wait, hold
glass.
on.
No, we
Hold
got
on.
another one. Oh,
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
All right. Now this one smells good.
That's mixed with rosé.
Cheers to the Thousand
Bottoms up
Islands.
to the
Cheers.
Thousand
Thank you,
Islands.
thank you, Mike. And
Wayne,
here's to
thank
you,
you
Wayne.
for this wonderful forecast here for us tonight.
We appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Great looking weather up there. You guys having fun? What a great place there, Thousand Islands. And now back up north of the Thousand Islands, where obviously it is a great afternoon, a great day, and a great evening coming up there too. Matt and Megan.
Oh, Wayne, you know, worth noting, remember a year ago, all the high water problems throughout Lake Ontario and the Seaway? People didn't like that last summer. This year, it's going great. The water levels are just where they want them to be.
Yeah, it is a much better season here this year. In fact, coming up new at 6 o'clock tonight, we're going to show you Boldt Castle and how they recovered from some of that fierce flooding. A much better evening out here tonight, including we're going to take you to Singer Castle. We'll get back out on the boat with our Stephanie Stanovich live when NBC3 News at 6 begins in just a few minutes.
You're watching NBC3 News at 6.
Good evening once again, live from the Thousand Islands. Our Your Town broadcast continuing tonight on this perfect Friday evening. We've got the rumble of the powerboats behind us. We got sunshine in the sky and water truly as far as the eye can see.
There are so many people who have come here for the charity poker run that gets underway here tomorrow. You can see all the beautiful boats behind us, all the tourist people coming into the area, a lot of families, and just a beautiful evening for it. In fact, the Thousand Islands really is just a short drive from Syracuse.
Yeah, about 90 minutes.
Yeah, take a look. Located right along the border between northern New York State and southeastern Ontario, Canada. It's just about an hour and a half drive. It was simple, an area filled with rich history. It is a sightseer's paradise and a popular tourist destination, certainly around this time of year. There is so much to do here, including historic castles, lighthouses to see, fishing, diving, and boating here. Now, the Thousand Islands were hit hard last summer by fierce flooding along Lake Ontario, and despite the flooding, Boldt Castle did remain open. 60 wedding ceremonies, in fact, went on as scheduled last season. 1 year later, they're still dealing with water damage, and the restoration continues.
It did create a lot of challenges for us, but we were able to remain open. Each day, again, presented its challenges. We quickly began rebuilding our docks or capping our docks off so that they're higher out of the water so we can continue to receive visitation, mainly from the tour boats coming in.
Now, so far this season is looking much better, and with the summer travel season upon us, they're looking forward to hosting tourists with lower water levels here this summer.
Yeah, much better. You're great for boating. In fact, tomorrow morning from roughly 10 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon, this charity poker run will take place. Then you're going to really hear these engines rumbling when they're all going at one time. Chief Meteorologist Wayne Mahar is back at the station tonight. Wayne, we wish you could be here, but thanks for sending the great weather.
Oh, you're welcome. I wish I could be there too, but boy, oh boy, fantastic up there. What a great place. Clayton, all along the Thousand Islands, looking fantastic.
Let's head back out now, live to the Thousand Islands with Matt and Megan right now. Guys, you couldn't have picked a better night to be there.
That's
my
great,
gosh,
Jeremy.
perfect.
Yeah, we really appreciate this weather.
Yeah, so we've got this great event going on here this week in this charity poker run. You can see all the beautiful boats behind us, but have you ever thought about getting out on the water on one of the antique boats? Take it old school. Well, there's a way, in fact, that you can do that, and it is a perfect way to enjoy the Thousand Islands. Just head on over to the Antique Boat Museum, and they give you this really unique experience as you glide along the St. Lawrence River and learn about the history of the area. The boat seats 6 people, giving you your tour a bit of a personal touch. Then step inside the Antique Boat Museum for a bit of a history lesson.
I come to the Antique Boat Museum every year when I come home for the last 50 years because there's no place like it on earth.
Now, the museum is open from May through October. There are daytime trips and even sunset cruises for you to enjoy.
And shipping is a huge part of the Thousand Islands. Oh, that familiar horn would sit right in the middle of the St. Lawrence Seaway. We saw one of the big boats going by just a short time ago. That's the way to get from the Atlantic Ocean to, say, Chicago or Minnesota. Ships have to come through the Thousand Islands first. It's not just a shipping port, but they see a lot of ocean vessels coming through.
It's just like living next to an airport. You don't even see them sometimes because they're so frequent. But a lot of people keep track of the ships. You can get on an AIS system and you can see exactly which ship is going in which direction and when it's going to be by your house.
Now, captains of the ship use those horns to communicate with other boats. If they see another boat in a spot they don't want them to be in, the captain of the freight ship will give the boat 5 blasts of their horn. So if you hear 5 blasts in a row, get out of the way.
That's right. You don't want to be in that area. You know, another great place to visit when you're here in the Thousand Islands, of course, is Singer Castle. And that's a place you can only visit by boat. Our Stephanie Stanovich is on board a boat on her way to Singer Castle. A beautiful evening out there tonight, Stephanie.
It is absolutely beautiful out here. You could see right behind me is Singer Castle. We're on St. Lawrence River right now, and it is impossible to miss. Look how massive it is. Now, I had a chance to tour that castle, and I could tell you it is an absolute fairy tale, which is exactly how people I spoke with described it. Now, a trip to Singer Castle on Dyke Island starts with a boat ride across the St. Lawrence River. It was originally called the Towers, built in 1905 by the president of Singer Sewing Machine Company, which later turned it into a religious retreat in the 60s and then sold to German investors in 2005, who opened it to the public.
When tourists arrive by boat, they're given a tour of the castle. Now, tourists are even able to stay the night here. Guests who come from all over the world describe the experience as a fairy tale.
People actually do come from Germany, Europe, Australia, and stay here for one night or several days at a time.
We have a lovely, intimate royal suite where we are staying, and it's just a beautiful, silent escape.
Beautiful, silent escape is exactly how I would describe it. It's amazing. Now, it may be on Dark Island, but there's nothing dark about it. And fun fact, you can also get married in that castle, which I would definitely do. It's truly an incredible experience. Reporting live on the St. Lawrence River, I'm Stephanie Stanovich.
You know, we've mentioned the antique boats, the power boats, the shipping boats. You know, the Coast Guard also has a big presence here. They keep an eye on things from a legal point of view at times, and one of their big ships came through here just before we went on the air today. We got a great shot of that. Want to share that with you, too. So much activity here on the St. Lawrence Seaway.
And there is still much more to come. Live from the Thousand Islands tonight, we are going to head back out of the water onto the St. Lawrence River, and we're going to check out Clayton by boat. All that from our Victoria Carmen when our Your Town coverage continues. Welcome back to our Your Town coverage from the Thousand Islands tonight, just outside the Harbor Hotel. A beautiful evening here tonight. You know, we're in Clayton right now, but we're on land. It is a much different story when you hit it by the water.
Yeah, it's one thing to walk around town. There's plenty to enjoy that way, too. But you haven't really lived till you get on a boat and tour Clayton that way. That's what our Victoria Carmen did for us tonight.
Welcome to Clayton. From the river, at least, the downtown continues to undergo a number of upgrades and revitalization, including a boardwalk, restaurants with a view, and museums. Who better to take us through some of his favorite spots than Jeff Garnsey, owner of Garnsey's Classic Island Cruises. This area is a hidden gem for celebrities, from musicians to actors and even NASCAR drivers.
If you're into racing, Tony Stewart, so he will show up at one of the local restaurants every once in a while. Yeah, I've had him. Last year I had him and his family up for a short dinner and a fishing trip. Alan Jackson, obviously a big country singer. He has a very, very large, probably late 70s, 70, maybe 80-foot boat called the Neon Rainbow, and he will often just show up in Clayton. He's a very large supporter of the Antique Boat Museum.
And if you're looking for some zen, there's yoga on an island, of course.
That's a yoga studio up on the point. Yep, Live Yum, the book that is farm to table type living and yoga, was written and published by a young lady that lives right around the other side.
The owners also have a studio in downtown Clayton. Whether it's a day trip or a weekend at the Harbor Hotel, Clayton and the Thousand Islands have you covered for an unforgettable adventure along the river. In Clayton, I'm Victoria Carmen.
Oh, what a great way to see the sights up here. Out on the boat, out on the water.
Yeah, that's right. Still to come tonight, we have a great live guest. We're going to talk to you about this weekend's charity poker run. All these beautiful boats in town and all the people that come with it brings a lot of tourism to the area, but it's all for a good cause.
It is. A Make-A-Wish will come out of this weekend. We'll tell you a little bit about that when we continue our live coverage, Your Town, Thousand Islands, in a moment.
To our live coverage from the Thousand Islands tonight. A beautiful evening here tonight.
It really is. Joining us now, a special guest, Nolan Ferris with the Charity Poker Run. We've been mentioning that throughout the broadcast. We've got all these beautiful power boats from across the country here. And Nolan, thanks for being here. This is a big weekend for you guys. Tell me the array of states represented here tonight.
Well, we sat down earlier because somebody said, how many states are represented? And what I could count to the best of my knowledge is somewhere around 26.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, all the way from California.
California, the state of Washington, Utah, Texas, all over the place.
And these are serious boats. I mean, this is a big investment if you own one of those boats, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The boat, the tow vehicle, the gear to go along with it, the fuel, as we all know, it's overall a large investment.
But the best part of this is that this is all for charity, Make-A-Wish. What do you guys do tomorrow, and how does it benefit?
Well, tomorrow we're actually going to be able to grant a wish for a child, we believe, as well as hopefully generate revenue to do a few more wishes in the future. We're also benefiting the River Hospital, which is located in Alexandria Bay for the soldiers of Fort Drum.
Great.
Really nice. What a fun weekend, too. And add in the great cause. You guys deserve a lot of credit. And you got perfect weather, which I'm sure was part of the planning committee, right?
It is. That's one thing we can't buy, and we did okay with it.
There you go. Chamber of Commerce weather. No,
Yes.
thanks
Thank you so much. We're going to get to Chief Meteorologist Wayne Mahar. Wayne, they want you on the committee next year to guarantee more good weather for the poker run.
Absolutely.
Well, you know what?
Just a thought.
We got to take the weather as it is. He said we can't guarantee the weather. I got to be honest, I can't guarantee the weather either, but we take it as it is, and what a great stretch of weather that we've had this week.
Thanks for joining us. Let's take it back to Matt and Megan.
Oh, Jeremy, thanks so much.
Great night, huh?
I don't want it to end.
No.
It's been wonderful.
No, I
what a great
understand,
time
I
you've had here
understand
tonight.
what you're coming for, and I think I picked out the boat.
Oh, that you want?
For next year.
Okay, all right. I think maybe next year we can come back. We'll be live on the boat for the whole show, so that should be a lot of fun.
That would be a great thing. But we had a great time here. Your town, Thousand Islands. Next week, we're back closer to Syracuse and the Fayetteville Manlius area.
That's right, and there is so much to explore in Fayetteville Manlius. We're going to bring that coverage to you all week long, starting on Monday on NBC 3 News at 5.
For Megan Coleman, I'm Matt Mulcahy. Have a great night from the Thousand Islands in Clayton, New York. So long.